Hey everybody, this is Rob Vegas. I'm checking in from Melbourne, Australia, and we're back with another awesome episode here on the YouTube channel. Today, and for the next couple of days, we're going to be talking about some movies. Now, you probably got the gist that on this channel, we focus on G.I. Joe with action figures and also music. We're going to hit it up with something that mixes, well, none of that really. It's just G.I. Joe, because we're going to be talking about G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, which is of course the 2009 movie, live action, no doubt, nonetheless, you could say, which brought G.I. Joe to the big screen the second time. And yeah, let's have a chat about it. Of course, we do have the DVD here, so you'll be seeing a few DVDs this month. And let's talk about the film just quickly. It came out in 2009, directed by our good friend Stephen Sommers, who also made, I believe, the Mummy movies, starring Channing, or no, the Mummy movies weren't starring Channing Tatum, that was Brendan Fraser. But the G.I. Joe movie does star up-and-comer Channing Tatum at the time, and I did go and see this at the big screen, so apparently, yeah, this was meant to be based on our good pals at G.I. Joe. And yeah, let's have a quick chat about it. Of course, we've got the DVD here. It came in this real super cool 2-disc set. And I've got to say, the movie is kind of a mixed bag if you've seen it. Of course, it's got Doctor Who in it, or one of them, the ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, who plays Destro. It's got, I think his name, what is it? Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a guy who magically becomes Cobra Commander for some reason, and it's all a bit odd. It's got Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow in it. Snake Eyes played, of course, by Ray Park of Darth Maul fame, and he's really cool in this. Also featuring is Jonathan Pryce. You know, he's a good bad guy actor in a lot of movies, like in a James Bond movie, he was the bad guy, where he played like a Rupert Murdoch facsimile. Also showing up is, of course, Dennis Quaid, Marlon Wayans, Sienna Millen, Lee Byung-hun as Storm Shadow, who puts in a stellar part, actually. So everything with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, good. Well, there's an origin story which they cram in there, which leaves a bit to be desired, where they have these kids messing around. Of course, Channing Tatum plays Duke, and he just seems a bit lost in the whole movie, because he's kind of the new guy and the audience surrogate who's introduced to the G.I. Joe team throughout the story. And I guess his character's meant to give us all an idea about what the G.I. Joe team is and what the G.I. Joe team does and so on and so forth. So he's kind of playing the part of the guy who knows nothing, who gets introduced to said G.I. Joe team. So the team's pretty much fully established and going from the get-go of the movie. And yeah, Duke is the guy that we, as the audience, see the team through, and he gets to join them and fight alongside them. Now, of course, they're fighting Cobra, and yeah, if you're familiar with, and I hope you are, of course, the G.I. Joe characters and toy line and things like that, there's not really a hell of a lot in the movie that resembles, say, G.I. Joe from the comics. There are some cartoonish aspects to it, like they have these super running suits and things like that. And of course, the Baroness, played by, was it Sienna Miller? Yes, I believe so. You know, they cause some mischief in Super Cobra style. And, you know, Destro, played by Doctor Who, Christopher Eccleston, he's causing all sorts of mischief. There's like a sort of romantic subplot between Duke and the Baroness, and a sort of romantic subplot with Marlon Wayans, who plays Ripcord, and Scarlet, played by Rachel Nichols. So there's a bit going on and a lot to keep up with. Brendan Fraser from The Mummy franchise. He pops up in and as a particular character. Apparently it's called Sergeant Stone, but no one really knows. But apparently Brendan Fraser and Stephen Summers, the director, are buddies, so he just got to hang out on set for a day and bark some orders at some troops. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. There's a bit of action. There's a cool scene in Paris. As I said, the Baroness and Storm Shadow cause a bit of mischief and stuff like that. And yeah, there's a bit of action, a bit of physics-defying parts of it, which you'd expect from the G.I. Joe cartoon. And am I going to say watch it? I'm going to say give it a go. It's not bad. Like, it could have been a hell of a lot worse, but by the same token, it could have been a hell of a lot better. Now, I got this on DVD, as I said. We got the special edition. If you could say, you can see it actually says 2-disc special edition. So if you see this out in the wild, I'd actually recommend it for disc 2, because it actually has like a half hour, 45-minute documentary about the history of G.I. Joe, which is infinitely more entertaining than the movie Rise of Cobra itself. So when I bust this out off the old DVD shelf, I actually end up watching the documentary about the history of G.I. Joe more than I've actually watched the movie itself. So say about that what you will, but I highly recommend it. It's called An American Icon, the G.I. Joe Phenomenon. So I'd recommend watching that instead of the film, because the film, yeah, it's action-packed and a bit of fun, and it's goofy and everything, but I'd recommend the documentary, hands down. If you're a G.I. Joe fan and you can find that in the wild, definitely check that out. The film, I'll leave that up to your discretion. But I'm going to give it a Rob Vegas score of probably 2 out of 5 Rob Vegases. The documentary about the history of G.I. Joe, where they go into the details about the old action figures and how it all came about, I'm going to give that 5 Rob Vegases. So, yeah, it's up to you. Tell me your thoughts on Rise of Cobra. Please do. I'd love to hear it. Like and subscribe. Comment below. And I will see you in the next video. Cheers, everybody.